Welcome back to the podcast. We are here August 13th, a Thursday. Let's go and check on our picks yesterday. Did okay, broke even, that's fine, but this main parlay right here really did a number for us. It helped us in a big way. As you can see, that plus 624 came through. We had the Minnesota Twins, the New York Yankees, the Houston Astros bounced back after they were down, and the New York Mets surprised the Nationals, came through. That was a really good parlay right there and a payday. But this video is not about NBA or MLB. This is about what we've been waiting for, the UFC 252. Stipe Miocic going against Daniel Cormier, the trilogy. This is going to be the finale right here. Cormier is trying to do a swan song and retire as a 41-year-old man, as a GOAT of the UFC. And we're going to be breaking down this card, starting off with the prelims today and the main card tomorrow. In the prelims, we have 6 fights. They just added one to this card. So because it was 10, now it's 11, just to fill everything out, because this is a pay-per-view, and we're gonna break that down. Okay, first fight, featherweight, we have Kai Kamaka the third going up against Tony Kelly. Let's look at the weights here that we have. Fighting Hawaiian, Kai Kama is 25 years old, 8 years younger than Tony Primetime Kelly, 144 pounds. So they're going to be about the same. I don't have the reach, but they're going to be about not even the same height. Tony Kelly has a 3-inch advantage against Primetime. Okay. Now, Kai Kama France has a nice high guard, good boxing combinations, mixes it up pretty well, solid knees, but he needs to improve in the clinch and avoid knees himself. After watching a lot of tape on him, he can stand there, take some punishment, but he does not pack power at all. He was having some fights here. If we go through his little resume, go right here. Kai Kamaka, against the Michael Stack. Now, this one, if you watch this video in LFA, this was a pretty much back and forth bout between these two guys, just throwing hands at each other. I thought that Michael Stack could pull it away because he did have a takedown, but the judges gave it to Kai Kamaka. But it was the power. That's the key point. That's what I'm looking for, because Tony Kelly has good jiu-jitsu, very comfortable on his back, needs to avoid takedowns better, very well-rounded, decent kickboxing to match his jiu-jitsu background, likes to level change when he's on the ground, likes to circle and get in his opponent's back and do more dangerous finishes from awkward chokes, okay? Because if you look at his resume, coming from a lower level, all right, from Louisiana, fighting with Legacy and WFF. He has some guillotine chokes. He has some shoulder chokes. He has some rear naked chokes. He just provides more to the fight for me. And I believe once they put it up, he is going to be the underdog once they put it up on the sports book. All right. So in the first fight, which was just recently added, we're going with Tony Primetime Kelly. He packs more punch. He provides you another option. He's not going to just stand up. He definitely has the ground game to back it up. Next fight, we got Chris Douskis going up against Parker Porter. This is a heavyweight fight, and we know what happens with heavyweight fights. These are big, sloppy dudes. Mainly one, which is Parker Porter. And Chris Douskis, who is the brother of Kyle Douskis, who we saw a couple weeks ago on the card, put up a very, very good fight against Brandon Allen. Very good jiu-jitsu practitioner and grappler. I was really impressed with that. So he already trains with him. Another fun little fact about Chris Douskis, he is a cop. So he's cop during the day, MMA fighter at night. This is someone to look up to respect. This guy is really on his hustle in Philadelphia. And Parker Porter, 35 years old, this dude is huge, like bad huge. Like when it's heavyweight in that 265 limit, he's at 265. So in this fight, granted it's 3 rounds, Parker Porter packs a lot of power in his punches, but Chris Douskis is light on his feet. He has a great overhand right, and he has the jiu-jitsu to back it up. He's been training with his brother, Kyle Douskis, and the camp that he trains with also trains Paul Felder. So it's just, even though his record isn't great, it's a whole bunch of nobodies. If we're just going through it right here, Chris Douskis, he's beating dudes 4-4, lost to a dude 14-5, beat a dude 2-1, 8-7. That's a decent record. 0-2. That's not a good record. Oh, he's facing guys that's 0-0. Parker Porter, on the other hand, is nothing to write home about. He's 10-5, but the weight is going to be an issue when you get into the second and third round. Chris Douskis is going to be the man still up in there, still has the cardio to put it away for him. And he's going to be able to move away from Parker Porter's big shots. And I think he can grapple. So we're going with Chris Douskis in that fight. Next fight on the prelim card, we have TJ Brown going up against Danny Chavez. Let's look at some measurables. 30-year-old TJ Downtown Brown, 5'9", has an inch height advantage. I'm not sure about the reach for Danny Chavez on the other side. TJ Brown is the favorite currently. And TJ Brown is also 0-1 in the USA. Lost his first bout, if we can check it right here, against Jordan Griffin. Oh, yes. This was a very... This one, he had it. He had it in the first round, had it in the second round until Jordan Griffin got sneaky, got a hold of his neck, got locked into that guillotine choke. It was a devastating loss because the way that TJ Brown was dominating in that fight. TJ Brown has a very powerful right hand. He level changes effortlessly. A lot of forward pressure, solid leg kicks, and well-rounded. He's mainly a wrestler. And like I said, got caught by Jordan Griffin, which was really, really a downfall for him. Hopefully, he bounces back against Danny Chavez. And now we're going to look at Danny Chavez making his UFC debut. And with guys like that, I tend to lean towards the guy that's already been in the UFC. They get the butterflies out their stomach. And Danny Chavez is a very good striker, especially with leg kicks. Has fought lesser competition, but has better cardio than Brown. But I like the experience on TJ Brown's side, okay? That's what I'm going to go with in this bout. He has to be aware of the leg kicks and check those leg kicks from Danny Chavez and the power that he provides. These Colombians, they're in there. They can take a punch, man. They can take a punch and they can give it back. So he's going to have to be aware of that. For him to win, he's got to use his BJJ and take him to the ground. And I think he can get a win that way in this small cage. All right. Next fight, we have a women's bout. Is this strawweight? Let me see. Yes, strawweight. We have Felice Herrig going against Virna Jendrobra. I was so close. Jendrobra. I'm trying. In this bout, we have, how old is Felice now? Is she like 40? No, 35. Pretty close. 35 years old. Has the 1-inch height advantage and the 1-inch reach advantage going up against Virna Jendrobra. If we look at Felix right here, she's on a 2-fight losing streak. She's a big, big underdog. And her name is the Little Bulldog because she likes to smother her opponents, hold them against the cage, work the body, and really make this a really scrappy fight. Like I said, good at grappling. She's a BJJ purple belt. And she has Muay Thai as her striking ability for her stand-up. We're going to look at some of her fights. Like I said, 2-fight losing streak here. Michelle Waterson really put it on her. I thought she had the advantage in that, but Michelle Waterson is really coming up, been winning most of her fights. And then the Carolina fight, which was really surprising after she just came off a 4-win fight streak, being Courtney Casey. Some big names there. She lost to Paige Van Zandt. Oh man, that's not good. She just got dropped. So there's question marks with Felix Herrig. She's an older woman, and she's missing out on her chance to really make a name for herself in this strawweight division. But Virna Jandiroba on the other side is a black belt in BJJ, former Invicta champion. And both of these girls have lost to Carla Esparza. Verna loves to wrestle. She averages over 4 takedowns per fight. So that's going to help her in this small cage and avoid Herrick's stand-up and that Muay Thai, which she's really, really good at. Despite the fact that she is the smaller fighter. She has some really nice some submissions in her record. That is her bread and butter. That's the way she is going to win this fight. She has to close that distance, make these leg kicks not be much of a factor, and cut her off and take her to the ground. She has a rear naked choke win. She has an arm triangle choke win, arm bar. You see all these wins? This girl is a finisher, and that's very rare in the women's division. You usually see decision after decision after decision. Okay, and we're going to go with Virna Jandiroba in this fight. Next. We have the hype train. It keeps chugging along. Herbert Burns, we seen him a couple months ago, and now he's going up against Daniel Pineda. I really want this to stop because after the first one, I didn't believe it. After watching the tape, he got to win. Then against, let's see, hold on. Because he's on a 5-fight winning streak. He beat Nate Landwehr in the first round. That's when I didn't believe him the first time. And then the next test was against Evan Dunham, who's a well-renowned wrestler. And then controlled and dominated him, finished him in the first round again with a rear naked choke. He kept setting him up in traps, had him on his back like a turtle, and then locked in that rear naked chokehold and got it done in the first round. So you keep getting these little signs like this guy, he's probably real deal. Like both of these Burns brothers turned their career around after the past 2 years. Gilbert is 100% legit. Herbert on the other side is the older brother. He has some question marks, but they're trying to build him up slowly, even though he's an older fighter in this division. So he's gonna have to knock it off like really quick. He's going to have to handle Pineda and then move up to at least to the top 15 and fight one of those guys. So before I really get into my full prediction, because I don't buy it 100% against Burns. Daniel Pineda right now, 26-13. The Pit Pineda. He might be the vet to stop the train. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's getting his last chance to fight in the UFC. Well-rounded in all areas, but I don't think he's just the right guy. He's 35 years old, and he just got caught cheating. Okay, so these are huge factors and question marks going up in this fight, going up against Herbert Burns. So you see he's on a 4-fight winning streak. He went to the PFL. This was a contest where you win, you have like 3 fights, and you have opportunity to win $1 million. He won the first 2 fights. He won by leg kicks and hooks. He won by guillotine choke against Jeremy Kennedy. Then the final fight for $1 million against Lance Palmer. He gets cracked for popped for USADA and drugs, and it's canceled. And then he gets none of these fights count. So now he gets burst into this opportunity to fight Herbert Burns, and this Herbert Burns is just too skilled. He's just too skilled. I want it to end, but Daniel Pineda to me is not the guy to finish Herbert Burns and stop this train. We're going with Herbert Burns. We're gonna hop on the hype train, unfortunately, and we'll see. Hopefully, they match him up with someone better, someone younger. Like, come on, you giving us a 35-year-old scrap dude that cheats? Like, that's not gonna work. All right, we're moving on to our last fight of the prelim card, the main event. It's a pretty crappy prelim card after the ones we've been seeing lately, but it is what it is for a pay-per-view. We have Lavinia Souza going up against Ashley Yoder, and I watched a ton of tape on these two chicks. Souza, 29 years old, is the smaller fighter in this by a lot. 5'3" and only 63-inch reach compared to Ashley Yoder, who's 5'7" and 66.5-inch reach. She's long and lanky. Obviously, you see why she's in the UFC because they're a pretty face. They like to market that. And maybe that's why if you look at her record right here, she had this fight in the Dana White Contender Series right here against Jodie Esquibel. It's Ultimate Fighter, my bad. It's not even the Dana White Contender Series. There's no way in hell. You can look this up. There's no way in hell she won that fight. She got dominated by Jody the first 2 rounds, and then the judges have to come up with a decision if there needs to be a third. They said no, and then they chose Ashley Yoder for some reason. She was getting torched in that fight. I don't understand what those judges saw. Even Dana White was like, you got cheated, and that's what just the judges chose. I don't know why, but she was given a gift. She cried like she actually deserved to fight, but she didn't. And then she promptly comes into the UFC, loses 3 in a row to some pretty good talent right here. Angela Hill and Mackenzie Dern, who's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, comes on with a little 2-win fight streak and then loses to Randa Marcos, who's a very, very tough fighter. Basically, for me, Yoder, I did not see. I don't understand why. I don't know why she's still in the UFC at all. Lavinia, on the other hand, is a former Invicta champion. Like I said, smaller girl, but feisty, is a very, very good grappler. She could take advantage by closing the distance on Yoder because she has the long limbs and taking her to the ground and pulling off one of her submissions, okay? That's the way she's going to do this. She had a very good start to her UFC career, beating Alex Chambers, getting a very nice split decision against Sarah Frauta, and then a big, huge disappointment against Brianna Van Buren, who was another small, tough fighter. So it was like 2 little girls going at each other. But for some reason, Souza, salivates in these situations where she fights taller fighters. Like, for instance, against Sarah Frauta, she dominated that fight. And now she gets another opportunity against Ashley Yoder. So maybe the size difference is a benefit to her. Like I said, just keep it close, stay in the pocket, and take down Yoder, and she should be just fine. All right. So we're gonna go with Lavinia Souza in that bout, and that is the prelim card for 252. Cormier going up against Miocic, the trilogy. I will be back tomorrow for the main card video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget also to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MessNSJD. All right. Thank you guys, and peace out.